Imagine that a person is standing within a public park and that someone is continuously throwing rocks at this person, hitting this person. Now imagine that this person turns around and sees another person sitting on a bench within throwing distance from him with a large container filled with rocks. But rather than making a logical deduction that that's the person throwing the rocks, the victim instead insists that the guilty culprit is someone else that's hiding somewhere in the bushes. Now, if you personally witnessed this happening, you would immediately know that something is wrong with the mindset of the victim, given that he's unable to make the logical conclusion and deduction that the person on the bench is obviously the one responsible for throwing the rocks. It would even become more evident that something was wrong with this victim if the person sitting on the bench also has a long history of throwing rocks at the victim. Given all these noted facts, if the victim ignores the person on the bench and insists that the culprit is a mysterious person hiding in the bushes, then clearly something has been done to the mind of this person. To our detriment, this scenario is consistent with what has been done to millions of Black people through white social engineering of our collective minds. Case, point, and proof. Millions of Black people have been brainwashed to exclude our oppressors from all of our analysis regarding our plight and condition, and to blame it all on the fictional Willie Lynch character. The oppressors controlled the education we're taught from pre-K through the 12th grade. That's from the ages of 5 through 18 for 7 hours a day. The oppressors also controls the media contents that are being systematically fed into our collective minds 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, unrelentingly. Yet, through social engineering, they've manipulated the minds of millions of our people to ignore all of these noted facts and to instead insist that our minds are being controlled in ways that serve the white society by the silly Willie Lynch myth. And the programming is so strong that many of our people make enemies of those of us who try to set their minds straight. The reason why there's rarely any resolve whenever a Black conscious person tries to free the minds of these mentally enslaved ones is because the conscious person presents documented facts, critical thinking, reasoning, and common sense. But the mentally enslaved ones have been socially engineered to renounce the use of reason, facts, and common sense, and to instead think in ways that serve the system of white supremacy. They have been socialized to act as wardens of their own mental prison. This is why trying to free the mind of the mentally enslaved can feel as difficult as trying to feed medicine to the dead. A mentally enslaved person is someone who suspends his intellectual faculties and allows himself to be subjugated to the will and beliefs of another group. Mental slavery is the inability to view events or even oneself objectively. A mental slave will not apply his brain to evaluate what he's been told, to discover what is true and rational. Mental slaves are in the habit of accepting and believing what they're told to believe, whether it makes sense or not. Often the mental slave does not even stop to ask himself whether what he believes makes any sense. What is only important is that he believe what he's been told. Mentally enslaved people suspend their intellectual abilities in order to hold on to their indoctrinated beliefs. These people suspend their critical thinking skills and will even believe things that often insult their own intelligence. The condition is also called thinking without actually thinking. Here's another example that demonstrates the mental enslavement of millions of our people. As a means of justifying holding on to a religion that was brutally forced upon our ancestors by our historically proven most ungodliest enemies, many of us insist that the Messiah is real and that he's black. If it was true that he was black, that would make him the worst black traitor in history, given our brutal history wherein which he did nothing to save us. Critically think, if the Bible that we got from our enemies was true, then how come they're not worried about going to hell for always simply mistreating us? The collective minds of our people have been socialized to think in ways that are against our own self-interest and instead in ways serving our oppressors. And those who do not critically think never notices their mental chains. Whenever people have been enslaved and colonized, their enslavers and colonizers always indoctrinate their minds with lies that facilitates their enslavement and colonization. This is an absolute fact. Nonetheless, we must never underestimate the power of planting seeds of truth into fertile minds. We must never underestimate the power of spreading the truth, because there's an immense power in the truth, because the truth has a vibrational frequency that's more powerful than any lie. All you have to do is keep repeatedly telling and sharing the truth, and it will eventually prevail over the lies. Furthermore, the mind, once expanded to a greater radius by learning the truth, never returns to its original smaller dimensions because the truth won't allow it to. It's in this way that the truth literally acts as a virus to the system of the white society that sits upon a throne of lies. We must therefore continue sharing the truth and posting the truth, whether we're unfriended for it or blocked for it doing so. We must tell the truth regardless of the consequences, because we are called here to awaken the sleeping sheep, not to appease the mentally enslaved ones that now defends their mental chains. It is time to function based on what is true. I make these videos because I know there are millions out there very much like me, but we're not given a national platform. And our words, our rational words, our intelligence is being overtaken by those who are mentally enslaved, who are spreading idiotic ideologies. This is about the truth about plight and condition. One love and peace.